chair's really loud. Hiya, I am back, and I didn't have an idea for this week's YouTube video, and then something happened. Normal day, my dad and my nan were visiting me in Winchester, and we went to Ask Italian. We had a nice meal. It was very nice. I'll put pictures here. Not that it matters, but it was very nice. We did some shopping. I got some things that I wanted to get, and we did a big Tesco shop because they're nice and they always get me a shop when they come up here because I'm a student and I really appreciate it. Thanks again, Nan. So when we're on our way back from the Tesco, we realised it had started to rain a little bit because we'd gone to a Tesco just outside of Winchester, so we had to drive back a little bit. When we got into town, the traffic started. And as the traffic started, we were slowly moving down the high street and we could see that the rain was getting heavier. By the time we got into like central Winchester, in the middle of town, you know where Turtle Bay is, and around there, around O'Neill's, Turtle Bay and Wetherspoons, we could see that the water was coming down the street. The drains, they were overflowing and it was coming down the street, and you know how there's a curb? The water had overtaken the curb, so everything was at the same level. And the traffic continued all the way up to our road. It was getting to the point where it was so deep that the water was, when cars drove through it, we were getting splashed, and when we drove through it, we were splashing other cars. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I live on a hill, so to get to my house, you have to drive up said hill. We get to the bottom of the hill, and obviously, there's still a lot of water because the water's going to come downhill, obviously, but it's still kind of passable. But also there's so much rain that we can barely see outside, out of the windscreen. So we can't really see where we're going. But the one thing that we can see is a load of water is now coming down the road towards us. At which point the car stalls in the middle of 3 foot of water. Not to mention there are also cars at this point that are driving around without their lights on, which I don't know, if they have a death wish that's fine, but I don't want to die because of them, you know. I'm in the back, my nan's in the front, my dad's in the front. At this point, my dad is purposefully having to restart the car and stall it again to even get a little bit further. So we're slowly making our way forward with what we can do because we need to get out of this water, otherwise it's going to get worse. Obviously other cars are stopping and asking if we're okay, and we're like, we'll be out of it in a minute, but there's not really much they can do because the water's completely around us. So we're stuck at the bottom of my road, slowly moving forward, and at this point is when water starts coming in to the back, because I think, oh, my feet are a bit cold. Oh, maybe I should put some slipper socks on when we get back. No, I look down, they're soaked. My trainers are still drying out over there, actually. Finally, we get out of it. We make our way up the road, still not really being able to see out of the windscreen, and we make it just outside my house. We stop the car and me and my nan get the shopping in while my dad sorts the car. See, it gets even more interesting now because the hose has gone in the car. The license plate of the car has been completely wiped out in all of the water. There are scratches down the side of the car, and when my dad was trying to dry out the car afterwards, it died. They have to drive back to Devon that night. We come into my room. 3 people is the most amount of people I've ever had in my room because it's not really a big room. Like, there's this area and there's my bed. So me and my dad are sat on the bed. My nan's taken my gaming chair. We're on the phone to insurance companies like AA, RIC, all of that. My nan's insurance, she was under the impression that she was covered for any car that she was in. Turns out that's not the case. So after about 2, maybe 3 hours going on the phone to different companies, they get to the point where they just decide they're just going to pay for my dad's car to be added to my nan's agreement. So if this ever happens in the future and my nan is there, we will get covered for that. We've been in my room for about 3 hours at this point, just chilling. Well, not just chilling. It's very stressful because obviously no one likes being on the phone to companies, and there's a lot of waiting on hold and really annoying hold music. But they pay for it, they finally get it sorted, people are going to come pick up the car, and my nan and my dad are told that they can go in the truck with the car all the way back to Devon for the price that they've paid. And then we get a call from the people that are coming to pick up the car, who then tell us that my nan and my dad can't be in the truck, obviously because of coronavirus, but they were told otherwise, so it's getting confusing. This leads now to the insurance company having to pay for a taxi for my nan and my dad all the way back to Devon. If anyone's interested, that's 360 quid. We got back from town at around 6. 3 hours later is about 9, which is when they got confirmation that people were going to be on the way to tow the car and the taxi to come pick them up. The tow truck didn't come until about 11. The taxi didn't come until about 11:45. All the while this is happening, there are pictures from town of 3 foot of water up and down the entire high street. But there were even bricks that had been taken up by the water in the high street. I will try and include photos from all of this. Obviously, during this whole situation, I wasn't really going to whip out my phone and try and film it because my dad was already stressed, my nan was already stressed. I don't think they'd really like a camera in their face at this time. So, tow truck takes the car away, perfectly fine. And my nan and my dad take a 2-hour-long taxi at 11:45. The whole situation is sorted now. My dad's car's going to be ready to pick up and fixed on Tuesday. Aside from that, we had a great day. My nan and my dad got home at around 2:30 in the morning. My dad decided to stay at my nan's that night because it was just easier, because obviously he didn't have a car, so he had no way of getting home. And then he got his friend to pick him up in the morning and he got home. That's what happened. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next week. See ya.